Right, so here we are, part 5. I'm wondering if we can get this done in just one video, or it's probably more likely 2 actually. Obviously don't want to rush it, so I think what we're going to do then is start with this area here first. I'm going to put in the darker bit, so we're working on this lighter fluffy bit behind his ear. So I'm going to put the darker bits where the fur separates, and then we can fill it in. So I'm just going to move everything actually a little bit there. We're a bit off the edge there. That's better. Right, so I've got the dark sepia then, and then we've got these little lines here. So I'm just going to gently put a line of this dark sepia in. I've got a bit up here as well. Try not to let the lines go too perfectly. You want them to be irregular and different sizes. We might as well get these ones in as well. I don't think that is one there actually. Yeah, I'm just going to take that little bit out. I think that's part of the fur bit there. Just grab my Tombow and just take that out. Okay. Right, so the colours I'm going to use for this part of the fur then, I'm going to start with the brown ochre 10 because it's a nice creamy colour. Use this as a base. I'm just going to go round and round, get the colour in. Doesn't matter if I go into the dark sepia. It just comes down to about here, and then it changes colour again. Okay, so my next colour, I've got the brown ochre, and pretty much put this all over again. I'm actually just going to grab my rubber, and I've got a bit of a line going on here. I just want to take that out. I don't know if that's a bit of the line art underneath perhaps. I just don't want that to not sort of connect properly, so just going over that a little bit there. Okay, and then I'm going to be quite light up here with the brown ochre because it is a bit darker. Take a bit more out of there. So just want it to all connect. Well, yours might be fine. I'm just going to grab my brown ochre 10 and just sort of fill that gap in there. Oh, that's better. I'm just going to go over this bit. My brown ochre was a bit too sharp, so I'm just softening that up a little bit there. So down here we're a bit more sort of orangey. I'm going to go with the burnt ochre now, just for down this bit here. I don't want to put it all over, just in the bits where it's a bit darker. Okay, and I think that'll be enough for that. And then I'm going to go to a different colour altogether now. I think the nougat will be good for up here. Put some of that over, just going over the dark sepia just to sort of smudge it, and then go into the fur just so it's all nice and soft. Let's do I'm just thinking I've probably done that line a bit too deep. Or dark, should I say. I'll just sort that out in a minute. Let's just bring this nougat into the side of his face here so it all connects. Let's put a bit over this bit here. And just gently into the ear, as I say, just so it all connects nicely. We don't want separate bits. it to just all flow nicely there. Yeah, I'm just going to take this out a little bit there. Right, so I'm switching to the warm grey 2 and I'm just going to come down here and then it obviously goes into the white bit, but I thought it'd be good to get this bit in here and then we can just sort of refine everything. So I'm just doing a first layer of the warm grey 2, the first coming across here. I'll take that up through there as well. Going to put a bit of that over this bit here actually. Just needs a bit more of a blend there. Let's just put a bit of that up here. You can't really see it, but it will just sort of merge everything a bit more. Kind of like a bit of a blending tip. Some colours do blend better than others. I'm thinking of maybe getting a sepia 10 and adding a bit more of that up here actually. But we'll get this in down here and then we can refine the whole area and see what needs doing. So we've got this marking here then, so I've got the dark sepia back. Just get this little line in. Let's bring this one around a bit more. Okay, so I think the brownish beige to fill in around the markings. And then it gets a bit lighter going up there. Okay, and then let's grab the cocoa and do pretty much the same. bring that up here. We do need to do a bit more work around there. Okay, so while I've got this cocoa then, let's start doing a bit more work up the top here then. So we're going to these markings. We've got a few little ones up here, so I'm just going to put some in. And just make sure they're irregular ones and not sort of straight lines. Okay, I am going to get my dark sepia back just to darken some of the darker bits here, not all of them. Okay, well, I think that will be enough. We don't do too much. I'm going to go back to my cocoa. I think would be a good one, and just sort of go all over here, and also the lines that we've just put in, just to smooth it and darken this bit up the top here. Put a bit more of the cocoa in. So I'm just sort of fluffing out these markings where the parting of the fur is. up here. Okay, I think that's working quite nicely. I am going to darken up a bit of this where we've just gone over it. I think, wondering if the black might be a good idea if we're careful. Just a little bit of black here and there. Okay, and I think that'll be enough. I've got a little line here which I'm going to do with the walnut brown. If I can find it, there you are. So I've got a little one here. We need to put a bit more underneath, but we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so we've got a bit more to put in here. I'm thinking the burnt sienna, just lightly. Just going over the burnt ochre there will be quite a nice colour. It's like a burnt brown coming through. As I say, we don't need a lot of this, as you can see. Let's put a bit down here as well. And there go the seagulls. We're a bit later today. I think that'll be enough of that colour. It's just a hint of the burnt brown there. Let's give that a brush. Right, so let's add some sepia 10 then. Just in places, so it's a bit purpley up here. It's good for shading. And I'll put a bit of that more, put some more of this on the ear. Let's put a bit in here. And I think that's pretty much all we need. I might put some up the top here actually. I'll just sort of soften it off a little bit there. And we go into another colour there. I've got the dark sepia back. I just want to add a bit more of this at the side here. darkening the side of his face a little bit in places and a bit of detail. I will do some work on the reverse side as well, so that will help darken a little bit. Okay, so what I was going to do next then is just get this other ear in. So I'm going to go the warm grey one, this one that we can just about see. And then we, excuse me, we go with some cold grey free now. And then I want to run a bit of this, what's going on with my throat, I just want to run some cold grey free along this ear a bit more as well. Got the little fine hairs coming off there. Okay, and then I'm gonna add another cold grey. Let's go with the 6. Just put a bit of that in. I'll put a little bit along the edge just so we can see it, because when the line art goes, I won't be able to see it so well. I need to put this in an extender actually. I'm just going to grab my black, put that little bit in there, and then we've got the top of coming across here. I'm going to go back to my cocoa first, just run it along here. Okay, just going to grab my warm grey 5 and let's just put a bit more just coming along the top here. Do a few strands coming off there, and while we've got the warm grey 5, let's do a bit more on here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my black again. Get the black and just put some darker bits in here and there, not too much. Just a few bits. I'm putting them sort of irregularly. I don't want them to go one way. coming down onto the fern. I'm just going to put a bit of black up the top here. And then I'm going to go back to the brown ochre and just put a touch of that in places. Putting it near where the fur separates, where it's a bit darker. Put a bit of this inside there. I'm going to come back down onto his side of his face, just put a bit more in here. So you see I'm using very light pressure, so it's literally just putting a little dash of this colour in places. So let's carry on down here next then. So I've got the beige red here, and I'm just going to put a bit of colour in where his mouth is. It's like he's got a little smile on there. Sorry. Put a bit of that in. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to the warm grey one and just fill in all this area. And just fill it all in. Doesn't matter if we don't keep in the lines, we don't want it to be perfect. Keeping an eye on the direction of the fur because we're going down now. We've got like a little triangle there. I'm going to leave that because I'm going to darken that up. And let's come up to here. So yeah, it just comes up to here, and then we go into the whiter bit there. So just carry on down here. And the fur's sort of coming down and around here, so I'm just going to do little strokes. Just going to go round and round just to get the colour in. Again, and just go over the line a bit. We don't want it to be a perfect round chin. Now we've got like a cold bluey colour under here, so I've got the cold grey 2. Just a very subtle change of colour there. I don't think I need this anywhere else. Actually, we could put a bit in there. There's a little grey bluey bit there. So I'm going to switch to another colour now. So I'm going to go with the brown ochre 10, back with the Luminance. So we can put a bit more of this buttery colour coming down a bit further. And let's Let's put a bit more of that on his cheek here. I don't think I need any more of that here now. Let's switch to the cocoa now. Actually, no, let's get the brown ochre back with the polychromes, just to put a bit of that in here. Okay. I'm going to switch to the Pablo now. I'm going to go back to the beige. You could use the warm grey free also, just to add a bit more brown, lighter brown. And we've got this little mark, so it's almost like a line coming over here. I'm going to bring that over his mouth a little bit as well, like a warm grey coming down. Another little shadow coming under his chin here. I do need to darken this up quite a bit more actually. I'm going to go with the sepia 10. I don't think it's going to be deep enough. I might go with the violet grey actually. Yeah, I'm going to go with the violet grey in the Luminance. That's better. Just a bit deeper than the sepia 10. Now I'm going to switch to the sepia 10, just as it gets a bit lighter. You can always see how it looks if you lift it over the, take it away from the line art there. Sometimes the line art can get in the way a bit. Put a bit more of that down here. Okay, I don't want to do too much there. Let's go back to a polychrome. I'm wondering if the ivory, we've got a bit of a creamy colour here, but a very subtle. I'm just going to go over it with the ivory. Up here also. It looks like he's grinning at the kitten at the moment. I need to sort this. It's not looking quite there yet. I think I might grab the cocoa because it needs to be darkened. got the cocoa. Let's do a bit more work up here. Going back to the cocoa and just a bit more in on this line bit here. Put a bit more here. I'm going to bring a little bit above his mouth. I'm going to take the line art out there because it's distracting me. I want to make sure I'm getting the right colour in, if that makes sense. I'm just going to take that out. And it'll be less distracting. That's better. So I'm going to go back to my warm grey one and just soften all that. I'm going to get my cocoa back and just put a little bit in just to darken it there, and then just leave that as that. So let's just concentrate on this bit down here, just make it a bit deeper. I'm just lightly putting a bit of cocoa in, and then it goes into the whiter first. So I'm just putting a dash of this warm cocoa over the ivory. Right, so I've just moved things up, so let's do some work up here then. Now we've got this little bit here, and then we go into the white fur down here. So I'm going to put these markings in first. I've got the dark sepia, so we've got like these two little lines, and that'll be a good place to start. And then it goes down there a bit more, but I'm gonna actually, let's put a bit of it over this side, and then it sort of goes into a walnut brown in the middle. We then got this one up here. Let's work this one. So we've got this bit here. And then that joins up to the top of his head. we do need to darken these later on. Then we've got another one up there, but I'm thinking of using the cold grey up there, so I'm going to leave that for the dark sepia. Let's just bring a bit down this way, and then we'll darken them up a bit later on. Okay, so let's just get the walnut brown for in there, join those two up. Where are you? That's it. The walnut brown. Okay, and then let's start filling in between. I'm going to grab my warm grey too and just fill in between. And then this bit down here. I'm going to grab my nougat now, back with the Polychromes, because we've got a little brownie patch down here. It comes all the way across actually. I'm going to bring it over this walnut and bring it further up. Just put a bit of it in this middle bit as well. I think that's all we need with the nougat. I could put a dash of it in here actually. Just want to make sure it all connects nicely. I might add a tiny bit of the burnt sienna there as well. Burnt sienna, just a little bit through here. A bit down here in places. I do actually need to finish off this bit here. This little line we put in after, I'm going to put a bit burnt sienna in there, and then I'm going to go back to It was the brown ochre, wasn't it? We went with the brown ochre. But I'm going to put some brown ochre 10 in, the Luminance, just in here. Just came down a little bit further there. And then go to the brown ochre in the Polychrome. That's better. And it just joins up there. And let's grab the dark sepia, just a little bit in there. Okay, I think that's good. We do need to darken that up in there, but let's carry on with, you know, the bits in between the stripes there. So I'm just thinking whether beige, I don't think that's going to be strong enough. I'm going to go with the cocoa then. Let's do a bit up here and see how it looks in between. I've got lots of short stubby fur here. Okay, let's carry on up here with the cocoa. So I'm not going to go right to the top here because we've got the darker bit coming through. Okay, let's come back down to this middle bit. Again, it's very short fur. I'm going to leave that little bit there because we start going into a different colour. I might get the warm grey free in there. So let's put a bit of this in here as well. Just going over the nougat now. Just making sure I've got a nice cover. You see, I'm just doing like lots of little close lines together, just so it looks like short fluffy fur. Okay, so let's just do this little edging bit here. Let's go with the warm grey 3, I think would be good. Right in front of me, that's handy. I've got the warm grey 3. You're probably thinking it's not really much of a change of colour, but we are under the light, so in normal daylight it would show up a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to grab my brown ochre just to put some on the edge here. So we've got these little colour changes, we might as well put them in. Okay, next I'm going to get the black then and start darkening these markings or lines, whatever you want to call them. So this one sort of comes along the top of his head here, and then we've got the other ear just behind it there. And then let's just do this one down here. I need to put a bit more in. Okay, I'm going to go back to the dark sepia now, because we don't want it all to be black. So I've got the dark sepia. Let's do, I'm just going over where we've just put the cocoa, well, not all over but just in places. I just touch up over here as well. I might just get the cocoa back. I can find it. I've got a handful of pencils. Oh, it's here. So I just got the cocoa back. So I've got all this white bit here. But we'll just finish all this first. I'm going to get my brown ochre back. I'll just put a touch of that in here again. I'll put a little bit in here. So I'm literally just touching the film and putting a bit of this colour in, or a little bit more of it in. I know we've put some in already. Okay, and let's put some over here too. So now we've got everything in the face. It's just nice to just go over everything. See where we can do any improvements, if any. I'll put a bit over here as well. I'm just literally touching the film. I'm not really putting any pressure on. We're going off the screen there. Get my dark sepia. I've got a couple of little marks, little shapes in here. Let's put them in. Just looking for any little markings that we can just put in. So we've got a darker bit coming up here, which I'm going to put in. I'm going to get the cold grey 6 for that. So it was about just coming off this bit here. A bit of the longer fur there. I've got a very small pencil here. I've run out of a pencil extender, so I'm just going to put up with it. Okay, and I'm going to grab my cold grey 3 and it will just give it that blue tinge there. I've got the cold grey 3 here, and I'm just going to go over it. I'm going to put it in other little places there as well, where I can see a bit of a blue tinge. Just put it in. And I'm going to put a bit more. Let's get my paper there. I just want to put a little bit more on his other ear there, just coming off. We've just lost it a bit there. That's it. So I think that's more or less there. As I say, I will turn the film over and just darken a couple of areas, especially in between the furry bits there. So let's concentrate on this bit here then. We've got some warm greys and a bit of cream coming in there. So I'm going to move everything down. So I've moved everything down. I'm going to start with the warm grey 1 then. So we've got the fur coming upwards, up here. Short fur again, so I'm doing short strokes with my pencil. So we do the base layer all in this colour. And it sort of goes round and round up here. It's just very short fur, and then it starts to come down. So we just go down to this line. We'll do this bit first. Move that kitchen paper there. And the fur's getting quite long, or longer, as we come further down. Let's just give that a little brush. Right, so now I've got the ivory. Just want to add a bit of warmth, mainly down the bottom parts. So just put a bit of cream in. put some of that under his chin as well, actually. You can just lift the film up just to see how it looks. I probably can't really see it very well under the light. There's just subtle changes there. I'm going to get the cold grey one. Add a little bit of a cold colour there as well. So I've got the cold grey one. I know we put something here earlier. I'll just put a bit more in. I'm going to go up to the cold grey 2 actually, see how that looks. Oh yeah, that's the one. So I've got the cold grey 2. Another brush. I'm going to add a bit more of that up here. So it's these subtle changes that sort of bring it to life a little bit there. With it being just white fur, you don't want to just use white. It would just look flat and boring. Let's put some coming down this little crease here. Right, so let's switch colour now then. I've got the beige in the Pablo. You can use the warm grey 3 as well. And let's just put some of these creases in the fur here. Pretty much like what we've done everywhere else. Making sure it's not too dark, as I say, when you've got the liner underneath it can be a bit distracting. So I've got a little crease coming down here. do the odd strand coming off the edge here. I'm going to go to the warm grey free, back with a Pablo, so it's very similar to the beige, but it's just got more of a colder grey. I'm going to put a bit more of this in. Lift that film up, that's coming along. I think it'd be good to either use the Tombow or the slice tool as well, because we've got some white bits coming off over the darker bits, so the more pencil we put in, the better it will work. So I'm putting this quite a lot over the warm grey one, because if you do really look, the fur's not completely white. You've got some white bits, but the majority of it is either cold grey or warm greys. So just doing this will just give it more depth and realism. You see, when you take it away from the line art, you can, it's a lot more interesting than just using a white pencil. And just make sure we go in the right direction of the fur. Let's run that along the bottom here. Okay, I think we're pretty much there. I think what would be good now then, as I say, we've got some white fur overlapping the darker fur. So let's go with the Tombow first. Tombow rather. I've not used it for a while, so trying to locate it. Just want to add some more warm grey free. Just put a bit more over the cold grey too. Okay, so I think that's all. I might add a bit more dark here actually, just a little bit. Let's go with the warm grey 5. I do have it here somewhere. Yeah, here we are. I've got the warm grey 5. We've got a couple of darker bits. Let's just put a bit more darker in places. Okay, and while I've got this, I'm going to put some more of that up here. I think it was the warm grey 3 we used, but I just want to put a bit more grey in. And then we've got more white coming down here. And then I might add a bit, I think I'm going to go a bit higher. Let's go with the warm grey 6. My little one again. So I've got the warm grey 6. I'm just going to darken it up in here. Just do a few more details. I've just realised I'm just going off there. I do apologise. Let's just move up a little bit there. So I've just done a little bit in here. Okay, we're certainly getting there now. So I was thinking that we would get it done in one video, but I think realistically, because we've got this white bit here to do and then a bit more of the darker fur, and of course the whiskers at the end. Oh, and also I was going to work on the reverse side, so I don't think realistically I'm going to get all of it done in this last video, so it's going to be 2 videos I think, but that's fine. It's still been quite a quick draw, to be fair, compared to the parrot. If you did that also, I know that was I think that was done over about 14 different clips there. So this one's a much quicker one. And let's just put some more coming down the side here. Okay, good. Right, so I've got my clean Tombow then. So I'm just going to do a few little flicks with it there. just give that a clean. I think that will be enough. We don't want to overdo it there. Just seeing if there's anywhere else. Not really. Don't want to take too much of that out. Actually, we could do a couple coming into the black here. Give that another clean, and then we could do a bit down here as well. Okay, and just keep it at that, so don't want to overdo it. And then we get the white Pablo and just sort of go over them. Just put a bit of white over here as well, just so it doesn't look like white lines. Okay, so I'm just going to put some white in now. Just lifting it off the line out there just so we can see it better.